Is it not the photo you posted in Kingcraft Club?
Yes, it is. I don't know. I feel that it's okay.
Hmm.
It is a picture of me.
I still don't believe that that's you.
Why don't you believe that's me?
I don't believe it.
It's just like, God, you must have like pocket protectors and buck teeth or something.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought when I hear you. I'm not gonna lie, Bug. I'm sorry if it's offensive, but that's what I think.
It's all right.
He's facing the really big, thick rim glasses as well.
I picture like
Dexter
Dexter from Dexter's Lab.
I'll have to actually sort of show a live picture of me just to prove you wrong one day.
It'll be fake. Absolutely
Yeah.
fake.
It'll be CGI.
It'll be VTuber. Yeah.
You'll be hacking my internet.
So
Yeah, I've been claimed I was actually a CGI model once by someone's
you
mum.
did, and they believed it.
Yeah, that was so weird. Yeah, a girl I was seeing, I was on webcam with her, and she started claiming I was a CGI model. It was weird.
So anyway, we probably I've not acknowledged the stream. So hello everybody. This is going to be something a little bit different today. So we've recently been doing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. It feels like for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, been 3 sessions so far.
3 sessions. It's going quite well. So obviously we had the Kingcraft podcast recently, so I kind of retweaked the overlay a little bit, and now we have this. So we haven't really gone too far into this so far. Do you want to give a little bit of background on the campaign, Doom?
Balls. You really put me on the spot there, you know. You could at least tell me to have the documents up.
Sorry, Doom. I'm sorry. But a good DM should be adaptable now.
I've got you there.
Right.
I'm sorry, Doom.
Low down to the story. Okay. So, we're in a fantasy world. Randomly throughout the world, there are spires that have started to rise up several hundred years ago. Within these spires spawn creatures. Guilds are formed to hunt down the creatures. And these people have all joined up a guild in a town in the middle of the main continent. The world is called Neros. I've forgotten what I named the continent in particular. So, yeah. So far in the quests, they have managed to be accepted into the guild. They have reached the very bottom level of the guild, the E rank. They have completed 2 quests so far. The first quest, they went into the spire on a mission to kill goblins. They returned, but something went wrong. Ooh.
Mysterious.
The escort that went with him was attacked, nearly killed. They managed to get him out and save him. He's currently recovering, but doing well. The second quest, they visited a brothel.
That would have been a really good one to stream, to be fair.
It would have been a very good one to stream, yes.
That was my time to shine.
I regret that I didn't, because that was a great episode for you, Elf, or Simeon, as you're known. So just to say, I'm with, left to right, it's Doombringer, Bagatti 7, Lord Zack 91, and Forever the Elf, but just for the sake of convenience, I've just put our character names underneath.
And I am every other character. Hi.
Yes.
Okie dokie then. Do you want to introduce yourselves, given we've got a little bit of an audience for change?
Yeah, let's, we'll go left to right again, so obviously you're the Dungeon Master, so, and you're regularly just Doombringer, so I am playing the character of Nigrex, who is an Azamar Cleric. You will see what type of character Nigrex is shortly. It should be painfully obvious. And then to the right of me, we have Lord Zack, who will be playing Flint McCoy. Are you was it a human?
I'm a human wizard, and I'm a human wizard. I'd also like to point out that this is my first ever D&D campaign, so all good fun.
My first time DMing, so
doing well so far. To be fair, this is only like my second real campaign, and the first one only went for like 4 sessions. So,
and then
had to beat the streak.
I'm no veteran.
And then finally, last but by no means certainly least, Forever the Elf, who is playing Simeon, who is human. Fighter. Yeah, fighter. I never
You
remember.
do what I do, and you go to World of Warcraft instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, fighter
it's-
just sounds like such a lame word. You know?
Mhm.
I
Warrior
think it
sounds
should.
so much
I think
better.
it should be called Warrior. To be fair.
Yeah. But what are we? We're just players.
Yeah.
There's already two things with W, I suppose.
Anyway.
Warlock and Wizard.
Yeah.
So.
You haven't count that, but anyway, let's continue.
And of course, they've also got the faithful little sidekick companion, Finian.
Who is also played by you.
Yes, he's also played by me, and he is an elf monk. And he is normally very quiet because I'm playing so many characters. I don't want to have to constantly have to speak for him as well. I don't want to just end up going into a complete theatre of me talking to myself constantly. But anyway.
I'd watch that.
So you'd be the only one.
Watch your slow descent into
I would. I mean, to be honest, I'd probably watch that too.
Noted.
Anyway.
Alrighty. So, shall we begin?
Yeah, let's begin. So we've just come back from our mission, haven't we? So we've just rested.
Yes, you've gone upstairs, you rested, and everyone give me a perception check with disadvantage.
Oh, really? Already?
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, if I was. Just make sure this is actually working proper.
That's a nat 1, baby. First roll of the session.
What a way to start.
I don't see shit.
What did it get? I'll have to scroll down, actually.
Got a 16. And Flint's got a 14. Okay. Yep. And you did another one as well, which was even worse.
Oh, dear.
Okay, then. Only Nagrax. You faintly hear the door open and close.
To our room?
To your room, yes.
Right, okay, so...
You're currently all in bed, still asleep.
So I assume that this would be enough to wake me up.
We know what before we disturb.
It's enough to rouse you, yes. Elf is snoring his ass off.
Okay,
sorry.
I suppose... What time is it, roughly?
You don't know, you've just heard the door move.
Okay, I'd probably get up and just peer out the door just to see who did that.
Oh, so you get up and you move to the door?
Yes. I kind of just like peer out slowly, just if it's someone sneaking up, I don't want to startle him. Just because he's kind of like that.
Alright. You peek outside the door, you hear chatter and banter from downstairs, but otherwise you don't see anything in the corridor.
So just chat and banter. So let me just have a quick look at the corridor here.
Is it Lorena? Did she follow me home?
It's quite possible. So I guess I'm looking both this way and that way as well, just to see if there was anyone.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'll do for the time being is I will probably go back to... I'll probably get back in my bed, but I'll sort of like just watch for movement on the door for maybe about 10 minutes.
Okie dokie. Time passes, no other movements.
Okay. I mean, Nagrax probably wouldn't think much more of it. You'd just go back to sleep.
Alright.
Or at least attempt to.
It was light outside, by the way. I should have mentioned.
It was... Oh, so it was light, although I assume we were resting from the previous day, though. Or do you mean it was morning?
It was morning.
It was morning. Is it about the same time that Nagrax had breakfast the previous session? Yep. Okay, he'd probably go down and have breakfast then, if that's the case. I didn't realise it was kind of to the point. I thought it was still like the night before, maybe.
Yep.
Okay, Nagrax might go down and go and see if there's anything going on for breakfast.
Do you wake the other two?
I probably don't disturb them because I didn't do so last time. I just kind of let them come around of their own accord.
Okie dokie.
So...
You make your way downstairs into the main part of the guild. Finian is already down here and he is eating some fried eggs.
Okay.
Looks up at you when he comes over and he kind of just looks back down and carries on eating.
I suppose upon seeing Finian, I will go to the same table as him and just sit at the side and say, "Ah, good morning, Finian. How are you feeling today? Did you have any luck with the report?"
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, I handed it in already.
Ah, very good. Well, I'm sure you did a fine job. What's for
She
breakfast
didn't
today?
look too happy. Oh, and I just got some eggs.
Ah, very good. Is there anybody around at the moment I can ask for? Because I'm feeling rather hungry myself.
If you look over towards the barkeep is still there.
Okay.
He never left.
Fair enough. I will approach the barkeep and I will just ask him, "Ah, good morning. Could I please have the same breakfast that Finian over there is currently having?"
Yep, sure. Instead of shouting like the previous days, he simply walks into the back, disappears, and comes back. That'll be 3 copper.
3 copper. Okay, I will deduct that from my character sheet.
You have copper?
I do still have some money, not a lot of it, but I still have copper and silver. That's that bloody component pouch. Okay, I've deducted the copper.
Okie dokie. A few minutes pass and your breakfast is brought out by a small half-orc. Not the one that you previously seen, which was the large female that was very boisterous. This one's much shorter, clearly much younger.
Okay.
He brings it out, he's quite quiet, just puts it on the table and then walks away.
Okay, I mean, as he leaves, I'll just say, "Ah, thank you." I mean,
He
obviously.
just looks over his shoulder, nods, and then keeps going.
Okay, with that, he will turn and just start eating his breakfast.
Okie dokie. Just gotta get the right document for a couple of names. 1 second.
Are you looking at the various types of food poison this could give me?
I mean, I was considering that, but
So you want breakfast, do you?
Roll for dysentery.
Yeah.
okay. Cerna makes her way over to the table and looks at you both.
Okay.
Oh, well, good morning. Finian gave in the report. It was interesting. But it is, well, met your requirements, so here's your gold, you two. She hands both Finian and Nagrex a bag of gold.
Okay.
And where are the other two?
Ah, the other two are currently sleeping upstairs. Simeon had a rather energetic day. I've wanted to just leave him to recuperate.
I bet he did have an energetic day. Especially if Lorena got her claws into him.
I don't believe she had claws. Her fingernails seem to be normal length.
Yes. She puts her hand on your shoulder and pats gently.
Okay. How much gold was in the bag, by the way, Dim?
10 gold.
10 gold. I'll just add that on then. Thank you. Yeah,
Well,
got gold again.
I'll go and wake them up. I've got things to do and I can't sit around and wait for him to give them the gold, so I'll be back in a moment. She goes upstairs and she knocks on the door.
Does it wake us up?
She's knocking on the door, so yeah. I'd say roll perception with advantage if you hear it.
She's done
You gotta roll above 10. Both of you.
Yep, I heard it.
Kaduki?
I didn't.
I'd say for a nat 1 you don't hear it, you're still asleep.
Did you get a nat one? I was hoping someone would get a nat one on that.
Alright, I'll get up and open the door. Ah, morning.
I mean, I didn't roll my advantage yet, so.
Yeah, with that one, I'm still saying you're asleep.
Damn it.
Your failure negates your advantage.
Oh, good morning. She tosses a bag of gold at your face, Simeon. I'll just say you catch it deftly.
Why is she so mean?
You immediately tried to flirt with her, essentially.
I was polite. I was polite.
Mm-hmm.
I was not flirtatious. God damn.
Maybe the last session was karma in a way.
Oh,
right.
Many thanks. Another job well done.
She holds out the other one. Give this to the other one. Today's game, you might want to make sure he wakes up at some point.
I certainly will. I'll just walk over and just slap him on the chest.
Ow.
Not hard, but I'm a big guy, so you know.
Make sure one of you two takes her the report for the next one, please. With that, she closes the door and leaves.
Come now, up.
Okay. Am I awake?
You've been slapped on the chest by a rather large and muscular guy.
To be fair, with a nat 1, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Roll to punch him.
Is this going to be a thing every session? We're just going to, like, one of these days we'll knock someone unconscious again.
I'd say... Wow.
Wow.
What did you get?
You killed me.
I crit him.
You killed me.
Great. You need the advantage. I would say that you've punched him in the head, he wakes up, but he doesn't take any damage. It was kind of a light
God,
punch.
you know what? I just had a thought. What if you knock him so hard out of the bed that the floor gives way and he just falls into the sea next to me?
Don't give him ideas.
Is this Wallace and Gromit?
Yes, we might as well be.
Alright, so yeah, you're awake now. Definitely.
Okay.
And you'll never sleep again?
Oh, I'm awake. What time is it?
What time is it?
You don't know it's light outside.
Yeah, don't exactly have a watch. Sun's up.
Oh crap! I overslept.
I'm gonna, I guess, put my shit on and go downstairs.
Oh, you were naked? Oh.
I mean, like,
oh God,
armor.
That makes it even better.
What did he hit me with?
Armor.
Should I be worried?
Oh, good morning.
Finian looks up. Hey, good morning. Hey.
Barkeep, the usual.
You don't have a usual yet. Or unless you want some hospice.
Yes.
House manure.
House manure. I keep getting the wrong way around.
To be fair,
know which one I'm
they could be expanding the franchise.
Okay, he gets you 2 horse manures. 2 for the price of 1 today, just because it's you.
My man.
Pretty sure. Was it 2 copper I did for them? I'm trying to find the bloody doc. I need to make another document for prices.
Maybe you could just say that he kind of keeps the prices in his head and he just kind of reduces it or increases it depending on what his mood is. Yeah. He's a sole trader. He can do what he likes.
That is true, to be honest. It was 2 copper this time. Either way.
This time.
I'll take a bacon and eggs and a coffee, my good sir.
Sure. That'll be 5 copper for that.
Same for the eggs.
That'll be another 3 copper from you. Anyone else before I go in? Nope. Yep. Okay. Bye. He comes back out. Say a little bit of time passes. By the way, you two make sure you add your 10 gold to your character sheets.
Oh. Yeah, I did.
Very good.
I did not.
Probably should do that, given you how much you spend.
I didn't spend
your things are brought out by the same little half-orc that served Nagrax. He gives you your things, nods politely, and then walks back into the kitchen.
I am eating my food and chugging my ale.
Okay. Finian generally seems a little bit fidgety today, but he seems happy enough.
How much copper do I have to take off?
5. I'll let you take that before we continue.
Do I notice?
Don't
you notice that Finian's a bit off?
No, I'll just say, yeah, you notice that he's a bit kind of nervous, shy, off-ish.
That's just Bug. Kind of like that movie with Johnny Depp where he uploads his brain into the internet. Bug's just done the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, I was just typing whilst you guys were talking, so I didn't have to interrupt. Yeah, it's just a still image. I I have my PC in the living room, so yeah, if I don't have a webcam, and the wire would probably be a bit too long or too short even.
How far was your PC?
It's quite some way. It's probably about 2 meters away from where I'm sitting.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't think a webcam wire is that long. Fair.
Enough, indeed.
So do you act on anything?
Finish
No,
my
I'm too busy eating and drinking to notice, I think. Well, I noticed, but I'm just too busy eating and drinking.
Fair enough.
So what were you saying, Doom? Sorry, I was only partly listening because I was just replying to chat for a sec. We just saying that Finian looks a bit odd today.
Yeah, it looks a bit nervous, stroke uncomfy, stroke shy, stroke.
So basically, he's looking like himself as far as we're concerned.
Yes, basically, yes.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Now Grax will finish eating his breakfast, and I think he's, even with his abysmal knowledge of social cues, he can recognise discomfort at the very least. So he'll just ask, Finian, you haven't really said anything all morning. Is everything all right?
Yeah, I don't think Cerna was too happy with me.
Why would you say that?
He reaches into a pack at his side and pulls out a picture that he drew. It's a picture of Lorena.
Please tell me that went in the report.
Yes, he nods. I handed it to him with the reports. It was kind of most of the reports. The picture is actually very accurate. It looks a lot like Lorena.
So he's quite a good artist then.
Yes.
So he's basically you in this world, except more socially awkward.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, to be honest, Nigrax does actually appreciate art, so he will actually say, this is a
He took liberties and there's no clothes.
To be fair, he kind of doesn't really look at it in like that sexualized way. He kind of just looks like, the proportions on this picture are really good, Finian. I mean, it's sort of a little bit off around the chest and hips, but otherwise, this is really quite accurate. But
I just like embarrassingly look and see her chest isn't quite that large.
And then he just kind of looks at you and just stays staring at you as you go back to your food.
But sort of after that, I said, but you submitted something other than this, didn't you, Finian?
Maybe. I wrote like 2 sentences.
What did you write?
We went to the brothel. There was lots of girls. We helped them get more girls. We found out that the person who was giving problems with the food was just the orc not paying, and yeah.
So no mention of the
Did you not mention the cultists, Finian?
No. I
Finian,
spent most of my time drawing.
Finian, I can appreciate that you want to pursue your interests, but you have to understand we need to produce an accurate report. I mean, what you have written is correct, but it's missing a lot of details. I can appreciate that at this stage in our fledgling careers, we're not really going... It's not as imperative, but you need to consider for the future, Finian, we need the practice to make sure that we're reporting every detail. Lives could be at stake. I mean, look what happened with Reginald.
He's kind of looks down at the table a little bit, embarrassed still. But you can tell that he's listening to what you say.
Okay, I'm not driving the point home too hard. I'm just trying to impress the importance of it. So with that, I'll put a hand on Finian's shoulder and just look. It was your first time, Finian, so I understand that you might have not got the format correct. Listen, the next time one of us writes the report, I will look through it, and I will give you an example of what I've done, so hopefully we can kind of align our formats in future.
Sana told me that it has to be one of the other two for the next one.
So with that, I turn to Flint and Simeon and ask, "Okay, so who would like to take the task of writing the report?"
I'll leave writing for better men.
Flint, I believe you're the only other. I mean, I kind of look forward because I'm an ass man. So that is still considered a man, right? Yeah, man here.
Humanoid, sure.
Humanoid, indeed. So, yeah, with that, I just say we all need practice with this, you three.
Fine, fine.
Simeon,
I'll do the next one.
You'll be doing it next time. Flint, you do it this time. And if any of you need any help at all, please ask me.
Does anybody know what time it is at the moment?
Finian looks over to the barkeep. A barkeep shouts back, "It's still a few hours before lunchtime. You slept in a little bit today."
It was for a worthy cause.
So
he just smacks and nods, given he knows where you've been.
Alright, if I'm done eating, I'm gonna sit and sharpen my weapons. I think with the whetstone.
Okay. Nagrak.
Make sure you put your uses off.
Yep.
Let me just double check. So, in fact, if you want to do something first, Flint, I just need to check something before I'm going to do.
What I want to do will take about 2 hours. Will we have enough time?
So if you have enough time.
I'll ask him, Nagrak.
I think what Nagrex is going to do, actually, he's just going to go back up to the room, and because he didn't do it earlier, he's just going to meditate.
Oh, Nagrex, answer my question.
Oh, sorry, what were you asking? I didn't hear what you said. When?
What I would like to do takes me about 2 hours. Do we have enough time? Or are we wanting to have another quest?
I neglected to meditate this morning, so I'll just be a few minutes. If you can wait for me, I'll reconvene with you in a few moments.
But may I take 2 hours to do a task I've been wanting to do?
If you wish, yes. I mean, we sometimes have small trips to the market before our missions. I don't see why not.
Alrighty, then I go up into our room and begin making a copy of my spellbook.
Okay. As I say, Nagrax will go up and he'll just meditate for about 10 minutes just to make sure all of his spells are prepared.
I'll say that you have the relevant inks to do it this time, but you will need to purchase them for the next one.
The book says it takes an hour per spell. I've only got 2 at the moment. And it's 10 gold per hour.
Isn't it 10 gold's worth of inks?
Just says supplies. Doesn't specify ink.
Well, 10 gold's worth of supplies. So I'll say that you don't have any supplies after this then to make a second one.
So you'd probably you'd have to go and buy the supplies next time.
Okay.
I assume that's what you're getting at there, do?
Yes, indeed.
Alrighty then.
Right. As that time passes, does anybody else have anything they want to do?
No, I don't think so.
So after Nagrax meditates, he will probably go back downstairs and he's going to look at the job board again.
Okie-dokie.
So I think there's probably only the one job that... thanks for moving me.
Right.
So he's just going to have a look at the rank relevant jobs, so anything in our class.
There is only the one remaining quest left on the board for your class.
Okay.
The quest is to assist in local law enforcement in investigating a series of thefts.
Okay, what I'll do in that case then is I will take the quest off the board. I will go to the other two and just brief them on what we'll be doing today.
Finian's fine with it. He nods and accepts what's said.
Okay, and I say the same to Simeon just for the sake of time. So I'll just say, could one of you two let Flynn know what we're doing today once he's finished copying its spellbook.
I'll look up. We're going after the thieves today?
Yes, it was the only job remaining on the board, so we'll be pursuing this lead today. I'll go to the reception and hand it over to Serna. So I will go to the reception and I'll hand the note to Serna. I assume I need to sign and the like.
Yes. She fiddles about with her papers and she pulls out a little clipboard again. Sign here and get everyone else to sign as well. I'll send out a message off for the person you'll be in touch with. She kind of flutters underneath her sleeve and a chipmunk jumps out and runs out the door.
Chipmunk?
Yes.
All right.
I mean, I don't know that happened, so yeah.
You do not.
Nagrax will just kind of raise an eyebrow at that. So he's just kind of like, oh, that's different. I didn't think of that before. So do I need to do anything else here?
You need to get the others to sign. So we'll just say that you go around each one, you get them to all sign, you bring it back.
Yeah. So
she accepts it and she says, give it about another half an hour and you should be able to go to the Ram's Horn. It's a pub down in the market. You'll be meeting the officer you'll be working alongside with over there.
Understood. I will go and inform the others to be ready in about 30 minutes.
Do you know what's his name?
Oh no. Isn't the Ram's Horn the name of the brothel?
Yes.
Actually, it might have been fuck.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh God.
Do it for hilarity.
You know what? Fuck, yeah.
Yeah.
We went back there. No.
So, yeah, I suppose Nagrax has a tendency to forget details. Yes, that would probably help. What is the name of the officer?
His name's Williams.
Williams, you say?
He's the human. Quite young, so hopefully he'll stand out. Or maybe he won't in that place. Who knows?
So we're going back to the brothel then. That name sounds very familiar.
Indeed, yes.
Understood. Okay. As I said, I'll inform the others and let them know to be ready.
Okay.
So with that, I'll go back to the table and just let Finian and Simeon know that we are going back to was it the Ram's Head, sorry?
I'm not at the table.
Ram's Horn.
I said Finian and Simeon.
Fair dues.
Oh, back there. Very well, very well. Finian, be a good lad and go fetch Flint.
He perks up immediately and runs upstairs. He runs into the door. We're going back to the brothel. He runs back downstairs.
I hide my spare spellbook in a floorboard under my bed and join them downstairs.
Okie dokie.
This kid is a one-track mind.
So, as I'm sure Finian's already told you, Flint, we're going to be going back to the Ram's Horn just to investigate a thief. We need to find an officer by the name of Williams. So, I assume that you are all ready now. It'll probably take us about 30 minutes in order to get there.
All right.
Very well, lead the way.
Great. You guys leave the guild hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nagrax on the way out, you notice Serna petting a little chipmunk and giving it a little treat.
Oh, what a cute little
Nagrax
chipmunk.
just kind of gives a little smile at that. He doesn't mind little creatures. Okay.
Right.
Is its name Alvin? Or Simon? or Theodore?
You never asked. It's too late now, you've gone.
No. We'll never know.
Okie dokie, so you guys go out and you make your way towards the brothel.
The brothel.
The brothel.
Oh, yes.
And
we're back here again.
yes.
Yeah.
You enter the brothel.
It's silly uncomfortable.
The barkeep notices you come in. Welcome back.
Admittedly,
How you doing?
We're doing fine. Admittedly, we weren't thinking we'd be back so soon. I understand that there's been some trouble with a thief. Is there an Officer Williams around?
Williams? God, if I know, don't ask the names normally. Most people like the privacy here. I'm sure you'd understand. Feel free to ask around.
Okay. With that, Nigrax will just go to the next nearest person. He'll ask the same question.
I'm going to stand by the door. Keep a watch outside.
Okay, sat in front of you is a dwarf.
Ah, good morning. I was wondering if you have seen an officer come by. We're here, sort of me and my compatriots are here from the guild. We're looking to investigate a matter around here. Have you happened to see an officer around recently?
The hell's an officer? That's a stupid loop. Yeah. He begins chugging a mug of ale.
Okay. I go to the next person.
Out of character here, BK wants a character description. So does Blackman.
Which character? All right, thanks, Elf.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
And so you go to the next one. It's a plump woman. I'm sorry. I don't particularly know what an officer is.
Somebody who enforces the word of law in the land.
You mean a guard?
Yes. At the guild, it was described as an officer, so I suppose there might have been a slight miscommunication.
Sorry. I'm gonna sneeze.
We'll just say that the lady sneezes on Nargrax.
Bless you.
Corona.
Nargrax is unfazed by the sneeze.
With survival check.
Oh god. So I suppose at this point Nargrax will just go sort of back to the bar and just ask the innkeep. You put out the job notice, did you not, for us to investigate the thief? Has no one been by here to look into the matter?
A thief? What are you talking about?
At the guild hall, we were told that you had issues with a thief around the Ram's Horn. Are we in the wrong place?
I don't have any issues with a thief, as far as I know, other than that goddamn orc in the back.
I look around for anyone that may look like a guard.
You do not see anybody sat in here at the moment.
Okay.
Was this not the place? Then we can leave?
What is it y'all are after?
I am after an ale, my good man.
Drinking on the job.
Perk up the fortitude, should Lorena come calling. Is she here?
Yeah, she's upstairs entertaining somebody at the moment.
Oh,
he pours you an ale and pops it on the counter for you on the house.
Thank you.
So, what are you actually here for? It's something about a thief. What's going on?
I'm just going to let Simeon speak.
So,
Nargrax has already described what we're here
for. We had reports that there's been some thievery in the area. We're here to help assist the town guard. We were told to come here.
Guard? Oh, why do you say a guard? Yeah, there's a guard upstairs at the moment.
But I shall wait for him here.
To be fair, I did ask if anyone had come to investigate the matter, so that would also have qualified, I think.
It wouldn't. The time passes, and can I select two characters at once?
Why you want it, though, Doom?
You said you're investigating here.
Yeah, but I asked if anyone had come to investigate the matter.
I also thought you said outside, not inside, but sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I miss.
But I wasn't around for the briefing, so there's no way my character would have known that.
Yeah, that's true.
You see someone in armor coming down the stairs, a small sword on hip, with a girl following him. Simeon, you'll recognize the girl as one of the people that you recruited yesterday. For people listening, Simeon got people to work at a brothel.
Thankfully, I didn't have to roleplay that.
No,
I
was
just
nice.
went around
No,
and
we just
convinced girls to be
We abridged that section.
prostitutes, apparently.
That'd be a great thing to roleplay, actually, on stream for you. That'd been so awkward.
Yeah, it would have.
It would have been. Good job we didn't do it.
Alright, he sits at the bar. He looks nice and relaxed.
Bet he does.
I'll have an ale. Barkeep looks at him. He nods. Yeah, sure. Pours him an ale, and he starts to drink it slowly.
I'll just pass at him and nod.
He nods back. It's something I can help you with.
Is this a guard?
It's a guard, yes.
Oh, you're a town guard, yes?
Of a sort, yes.
Your name Williams?
How do you know? He eyes you suspiciously and puts his mug down.
We're here to help. We're from the guild.
Oh, are you from the Kings of the Craft?
Yes.
Oh, right, yeah. You're the muscle. Oh, okay, then. Excellent.
Certainly. What is it you need?
I'm going to be going and doing a bit of an investigation at the sites of the theft that was mentioned. Been a couple of days now, but hopefully we'll be able to pick up on something. I'll brief you more on the way there. He finishes his ale, and he gets up to leave. Oh, come on. On the way out, I like the new girls, by the way. Says to the barkeep.
They are quite something.
Huh. You're never right about that.
I hurriedly leave.
You don't tell us?
Come. Mission is afoot.
Okie dokie.
Okay, now Greg's follows.
Okay, so you guys all leave together. For people watching, I don't have maps for half of the things, only for particular places, so face through the mind now. So you guys are walking through the streets towards the market area generally. As you walk, William speaks. So the basic idea is that there's not really many people that actually tend to look into theft around here. We're kind of setting up a new portion of the guard. This is kind of my first time at it, so I'm kind of a bit unsure about it, to be perfectly honest. But they've asked me to look into a series of thieveries that have all, well, actually, we've got no idea if they're linked or not, to be honest. They've happened close together, so we're assuming they are. We've had 3 separate shops that have been hit. And yeah, you can come there with me, see if you give me a hand. If it happens, you can be the muscle.
Yes.
He slaps Slimmy on the back, in particular, when he says that.
Slap him back on the shoulder. How tall is he? How big is he?
He is notably scrawnier than you.
Oh, good.
And I'm going to roll a d20 to, if it gets below a 12, I'm going to say you knock him forward. If you get a 1, you knock him over. Okay, you knock him forward. Alright. He winces a little bit. Yes. We're not exactly meant to be muscle. And I've not really had that experience in fighting, to be perfectly honest.
That is why I am here.
But I'll be frank with you, I have no leads whatsoever, and yeah, it's probably not going to go anywhere. But we'll see what happens.
Do not worry, we have 2 of the most perceptive minds in all the land. Referring to these 2.
No, Grex just kind of like tries to nod reassuringly. Stasia's kind of like Simeon take the lead because he talked first.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we've got 3 different types of shops that have been hit by this. Where's my note?
He's actually saying that. He's just sort of like he's just got a notepad just furiously flipping through it.
Yes.
God, where's my notes? Oh, okay, it's here.
I swear I made a note on this somewhere. That's plots.
Booger's a little quieter. Okay, I might need to bump up my microphone a bit then.
Are you sure it's not the opposite? Is that sarcasm? It doesn't really transmit through text?
I mean, I don't know if BK is being sarcastic. I've just turned myself up a bit now.
Okay, the shops are shop that sells enchanted wooded items. No, do not go there. I know we've just been. It's not that. There's a jewel shop, and there is a arcane dust shop as well. Which ones shall we hit up first? He defers to Simeon, given he's the toughest looking one.
Okay.
What was the first one? Enchanted what?
Sells enchanted wood.
Oh, okay. This tell me more about this enchanted wood. This sounds bizarre.
Sorry, what were the other two?
I gotta get the right document back up again. The other two were jewelers and a place that deals in arcane dust and other arcane components, I should say.
Okay.
I don't even look back to the other two to see what they think. Like, so this enchanted place. Lead on.
Right, the enchanted wood shop. Bit of an odd shop, I know, but let's go.
Okay, I suppose we'll just follow on then.
Yep.
That should be all blank, I hope.
It is.
So it's going to drag characters to the right one.
Oh dear, BK. It's fine. It's this. You did this to yourself, Doom.
Okay, you look in the bottom right of the screen. You'll see your characters.
Yep, I got it.
Barmai, did you say?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Let me just zoom in this a little bit, just so I can just make sure the map's updated properly on stream. Yeah, there we go.
I'm just going to use a labourer to be the guard.
The sprites are a work in progress.
Yeah.
I am not an archer, as you may have guessed.
There was nothing for Asima, give me a break.
Fair enough.
Okay, you guys enter the shop. You see a woman behind the desk. She is elven.
And he's dead.
I mean,
He's
dead again.
I was just looking at the icons.
It's annoying when people just spontaneously die with no explanation.
Okay, so the officer walks over. Good evening. We're here about the recent theft. The woman responds, "Oh yes, hi there. Yes, you're quite late, to be honest. Yes, I'm sorry about that.
Help is never late, good woman. Tell me of these vagabonds."
Oh, and who may you be?
I am Simeon Roebuck. Perhaps you've heard of me?
I'm just observing the enchanted wood. These are talking.
I'm just kind of standing next to Simeon, just listening to the conversation.
Well, I wouldn't mind to get to know you anymore, but another time. But yes, a few nights ago, my shop was broken into whilst I slept. I don't actually. Well, I'm quite a heavy sleeper. Because I sleep like wood, really. Yeah. As, so yeah, they broke in. They stole some basics. Wand supplies, basically enchanted pieces of wood. It was specifically willow tree wands that they took. Well, willow tree wand bases. I could show you into the back to show you where I stored them if you want.
Absolutely. Lead on.
I will go with Simeon.
I'll follow as well.
Alrighty, you got the right tool.
Just hop the bar.
I forgot to put a thing in that one.
Yeah.
To give you a break. Okay, so she goes back here. You can see this tight space here is my living quarters. It's just right over here. There was a crate of the wand materials, but obviously it's now gone. the crate was still here, but the ones were gone for a minute. I've disposed of the crates since. It's been a few days. But yeah.
I'm looking over. What are these? This wood for? Wands, you say?
The smaller pieces are mostly used as components for creating wands. Larger ones tend to be used for making staffs and all kinds of other arcane trinkets. I'm sure you know what a dreamcatcher is. They can actually be quite effective at protecting from nightmares. So
we're going literal dreamcatcher. I was like, yes. Can I have a look around, see if I notice anything that would be out of the ordinary?
Roll investigation.
Sweet. Plus 0.
I need to get back to
18. That's not bad, though.
Okie dokie.
It's pretty good.
You can see several of the crates seem to have been pried open slightly, but they, weren't otherwise moved. Just about let's say about 2 centimeter gap in each one can be opened up. You see at the door, it was forced open, but was done so quietly somehow.
Are there any other
given
places
she slept.
in and out?
Are there
any other places in and out of this room?
There is a door here, which the door I was referring to then. Do you got that?
See what you make of this, Flint. I'm gonna walk out that door. I like to see what you make of the crates. Like what you make of the stuff inside.
Right, then I inspect the crates that are remaining.
I mean, you could simply pass on what you know from your own investigations, Simeon. Or are you going to inspect them separately?
It looks like each of these is pried open. I suspect they were looking for something specific.
What are in the rest of these crates?
There are different type of wand and staff components made from different materials. For instance, you've got oak, you've got birch, you've got ironwood.
Jungle, acacia.
All right, where did you dispose of the crate where the ones were taken from?
Oh, I send the crates back. They give me money back for the crates. I don't have any more. Sorry.
Could have done with examining that crate.
To be fair, we are like really late to this.
If you'd been here a few days ago, I would have still had it, but I gotta try and make my losses back somehow. The guard isn't refunding me, that's for sure. Alright, so out back, you see just basically a small grassy area. I'm gonna say you see a few stray pieces of wood. You could assume might have been dud enchanting wood. There's some firewood propped up against one of the walls. I'm going to sneeze again in a minute. And an entrance to a back alley.
I'm going to check out that back alley.
I bet you are.
Oh, must be really talking about me.
Really was talking about you.
Bless you.
Something fun. Okay, the back alley is generally quite barren. There's some barrels dotted about, which I didn't actually put in. Over here, there's a group of kids. And otherwise, it just seems to connect through the back of the shops to other shops with a few offshoots here and there.
You said they forced their way into the front door? Like behind the...
No, the back door.
Ah, the back door. Okay. All right. Do I see anything out of the ordinary in this back alley?
No, just literally exactly what I just said. Just some kids over here, a handful of barrels dotted about. There's no back gate over here, so you can assume that they only had to break through this door.
What's do both ends of the alley lead to other alleys, or is there a dead end?
It just continues on as an alley behind the shops.
This might be a bit of a stretch, Doom, but if I was to roll like a survival check, would I be able to see if there's like any tracks around here? Is this area
Where are you specifically?
kind of like toward like just this general area? Is this backdoor access? Often I'd probably have to ask the shopkeeper one time for that.
Not particularly often, no. I don't really tend to have much reason to go out there, and not really much there, to be perfectly honest.
Okay, I'm not sure how much help it'll be. I just want to see if there's any sort of tracks.
So you're basically looking for tracks, okay?
Yeah. So what would I roll for that?
I'd say roll survival.
Okay. Huh, I have a +3 for some reason. It's probably still going to be terrible.
Survivor.
I guess so. Huh, I survived real good.
Okay. You see several different groups of small footprints around about here, as well as several here towards the back.
So
There's more gathered up over here.
sorry, let me just go back.
In terms of size, they do seem like quite small footprints.
They seem like small footprints. Okay, I will draw Flint and Simi's attention to that. Which direction did you say they went in? Did they kind of like go off to the left or right?
The footprints stop where the grass stops.
Right, so this is just kind of like stone, I'm guessing then.
Stony, sandy dirt.
Yeah, so like something that you want to take thinking. Okay.
Can I try and identify what creature caused these footprints?
It depends if Nagrat shares that information.
Oh yeah, I just said I shared the information.
I show you. Okay. Roll intelligence on the footprints.
Intelligent.
13. They look like they could be a small person's footprints.
Small persons.
Dang these small persons. Nagrax does kind of walk over to here, and he would probably notice the kids on the left.
Mm-hmm.
I will probably at this point go to Simeon and say, Simeon, I've already told him about the tracks. I think I might be jumping to conclusions, but it might be worth. I kind of like motion to the footprints in my head. Ask those children over there if they happen to know anything about what happened here.
Still nervous about your last encounter with children, Nagrax?
Nagrax kind of just shrugs and he says, as has been proven recently, you seem to be better at social encounters than I.
They are rascally little devils. You there? I'll just shout over to the kids.
Okay.
I'd say that squares the kids. For reason's sake. They kind of look up at you. There's a group of 3 of them specifically. 2 of them older, 1 of them younger. The younger one just kind of looks at you and stares at how tall you are and how muscular you are. The other 2 kind of look at you with suspicious eyes. Clearly not exactly trusting of you as you walk up to them. The little one that was looking at you speaks up. Wow. Hi, mister.
Hello there, young ones. Come over here.
The little one starts to move, but one of the older ones puts a hand on his shoulder.
Not to worry, not to worry. You want to see something cool? I sound like such a fucking paedophile right now.
You've kind of gone from one end to the other of the spectrum.
Jesus.
You're picking up women to work in a brothel last time, and now you're talking to children. Oh God, don't tell them about the time you went to pick up prostitutes.
No, I won't be telling the children about that.
Oh no, I didn't actually think about that. There we go.
So, yeah, the little one nods at you.
Is there anything in the alley? Any objects around in the alley?
There's some empty, partially broken barrels, some general bits of wood like planks.
How far away are the barrels?
I'd say they're going to be there.
I'm going to pull out one of my hand axes. Watch this! And I'm going to throw the hand axe at one of the barrels. Try and get it right in the top.
Roll bad, please roll bad, please roll bad. Okay, 13. It's a stationary object. He hits it. Hits it straight in the top. The wood kind of gives way, and the axe topples to the floor, embedded in a plank. The little one goes, "Wow, that's cool." He runs forward, breaking away from the others, and the other two kind of just shrug and walk over. It was kind of cool.
I'll kneel down and just let him sort of look at. I've got two hand axes. I'll sort of hand him the other one and let him turn it over and look at it.
Wow. He tries to touch the blade.
Careful, it's sharp.
Okay.
Now, you kids seen anything weird around here lately?
The little one looks up to the blue person. He's weird.
He certainly is. He certainly is. I tussle his head.
Can they see me from there?
You're only there, so.
Ah, right. I kind of thought that this might have been a corner.
They've gone up to Simeon now, so.
Who is stood here, unless he went all the way over there after he threw his hand axe.
No, I'm just sort of like crouched down next to this kid.
Okay, for convenience, I'll just say I'm a couple of steps forward, and Nagrax will just say, He doesn't really know how to handle kids, so
the two older ones are looking at Nagrax very suspiciously. What's wrong with you? Are you sick?
No, I am an Azamar. I'm not from around here. Just here with my compatriots, investigating a thievery. You kids wouldn't happen to know anything about this, would you?
When did it happen?
Were we actually told when it happened on the note?
You know, it's been at least several days, and it happened during the night, as the shopkeepers told you.
Okay, so I'll just say, it was roughly a few nights ago, according to the shopkeeper.
The two older ones look at one another and look back. Maybe we know something. They shrug.
Ah, that's wonderful. Would you please tell us what you know?
We could do with maybe a little bit of a something. We might be able to tell you.
What is it that you need exactly?
Do you have any gold on you?
Ah, yes, I remember something like this happening once before. Yes, how could I forget? He kind of like rummages through his purse, and he sees that he's got about 10 gold, and I'll just say, he doesn't say the amount, he'll just say, yes, I have some gold here.
One of the old boys hands his handouts. Well?
Okay, now Grex did kind of get wise after the other little kid kicked him in the shin, so he will take out a gold piece, hand it up, and just sort of like hold up to say, is this okay?
He snatches out your hand, and he looks at it a minute, he bites it. After attesting that it is indeed actual gold, he puts it into a little pouch on his side. Yeah, a few days ago, we saw some little people at the back of here. They were making a bit of noise, and suddenly they weren't, and we just kind of left them and went away.
Could you describe these little people?
I'd say they're probably no taller than his waist. He points to Simeon. And they had kind of like 3 red stripes on one of their arms. All 3 of them did. I didn't really pay much attention beyond that, to be honest.
Okay.
The other one doesn't pipe up anything else, and the little boy is still kind of fixated on Simeon.
Yeah. You've been a great help, kids. And I will take my hand axe back off the little one and leave a silver piece in his palm.
He initially looks disappointed and sees the silver and looks extremely excited suddenly. He goes, "Yay!"
Run along now, kids.
They start walking down the alley this way and then disappear down one of the side split-offs.
Okay.
Put that away. Okie dokie.
So magic on making wood was stolen. I feel we should try and find out what else was stolen. Maybe we can link something together.
Excellent, excellent.
I would suggest that we report what we've learned back to Officer Williams, just to see whether he's had any findings thus far, and to see if he can help us pin this together.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure to retrieve my other hand axe. I don't want to be a stickler and say, well, you kind of threw it away. I'm going to go back inside.
Okay.
Okay. You guys go back inside. You see Williams talking to the shopkeep.
Williams, my boy.
Ah, yes. You find anything out back?
Yes, yes. We found many clues. Let us check out the other things that were stolen. We hope to make a connection here. We will be back, madam.
Please come back with my stuff. I really can't afford to buy some more willow ones. And with that, I assume you guys leave?
I mean, if Officer Williams is leaving, then yeah, I suppose we'll follow him to the next place of interest.
Okie dokie. Let's see. Which one was which for these?
Just to clarify, just in case it becomes relevant later, I assume that Finian was following us, or did he just stay by the door?
He stayed with Williams.
He just stayed with Williams. Okay, so he still...
No, he did not stay in the brothel.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Okay, so you guys make your way a bit further up the map to the north. I'll just say that he's following the officer generally.
Okay.
Oh, God, I keep tracking the map by accident.
While we're walking, I
okay.
want to ask Williams.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We got word of individuals wearing red stripes. Does this mean anything to you?
Red stripes. There's a couple of things that could be. Do you know anything else about them?
They were quite small. That's right. We found quite small footprints.
Huh.
I doubt they were children. They could be halfling, dwarf.
Yeah. The children described them as being no taller than... was it your waist height, Simeon?
Yeah. For reference, I'm 6'2", my character.
I have a feeling I know what it is. All right, then. Let's just get on with this for now. We'll check the other places, make sure there's not going to be anything else to throw a wrench in the works. Okay, and because I forgot to put characters into the other ones, I'm just going to say the box is the shopkeep. You guys enter a shop. This one is quite luxurious compared to the other one. There are jewels on display dotted about everywhere on shelves against the walls. With each one of them is placed onto a rune, you notice. The shopkeep looks a lot more upkept than anyone else you've dealt with so far.
Okay.
It is a dwarf. He wears a monocle. He has a fabulous mustache, but no hair on his head. And you guys enter. He kind of looks you all up and down and raises an eyebrow. I guess, how may I help you?
Ah, my friend, I say in Dwarvish. Because I can speak Dwarvish.
His eyebrow raises a little bit higher. He responds in Dwarvish. Hello, fellow not dwarf. How can I help you in particular? It's not common for people to speak my tongue.
Oh, I learned it years ago from a dear friend.
Just to let you know, by the way, Elf, I can't speak Dwarvish, so unless Flynn can, neither of us can understand you right now.
I translate for Nargrax because I can speak.
Ah,
Gaelic
okay,
also.
fair enough, cool.
I was just saying it as a greeting to build rapport.
Good sales tactic, I approve.
My good man, I'm speaking just common now. My good man, we hear you've had some cases of thievery lately.
Yes. A couple of nights ago, someone seems to have broken into my place yet again, and they managed to get away without setting off any wards.
Again?
Is that what these runes are for?
I run a jewel shop. Thievery is not exactly uncommon. And my wards, he has several jewels on display beside him. He lifts one of them up, and immediately an alarm starts blaring. And he puts it back down, and it stops.
So to answer my question, yes, that's what the runes are for.
Indeed.
Okay then. Very impressive magic there.
Well, given the value of some of these stones, you can understand why.
Definitely. So where was the jewelry taken?
The jewelry was taken from over against this wall. Oh, God, I pulled the wrong thing again. From over here. Against the wall, there are several runes on the wall. I'd say about 8 runes that have nothing on them.
And what jewels were they?
They were all sapphires, quite large ones as well. Quite well cut, I should say.
When were the jewels stolen?
A couple of days ago, specifically. I was hoping for a faster response from the guard. Just because it's not exactly a new division does not mean that it should not be so late. The guard just kind of looks a bit down, a bit sheepish. He doesn't really say anything to that.
Okay.
Right, do you mind if I examine the wards, see if they've been tampered with?
Yes, certainly. Go ahead.
So,
roll investigate. Shall I say roll Arcana?
Did you say Arcana for that?
Yeah.
No, I'm ready then.
Okay, with a 20, I'm going to say the wards did go off. You can tell that from looking at them. But for some reason, they didn't make a sound. You'd assume.
It appears the wards did trigger, but no sound was made. Was there an additional spell used?
No, it's only the one, and I regularly test all of them. I actually get complaints from the neighbours about it whenever I do it, but what else are you going to do? You can't exactly just trust a mage these days.
Protecting one's business.
Nargrax would like to chime in, if that's okay.
I look slightly offended by his comment about the mage.
He just brushes it off. Your offensive look.
Nargrax turns to Flynn specifically. If the rune went off as far as we know, but didn't make a sound, would it be safe to assume that one of the spellcasters may have had a way to, I don't really know how best to support this, to dampen or remove sound from an area? Is that possible?
I don't know. Can I check for any sort of silencing spell?
I'll say just roll intelligence.
Should really keep my character sheet open.
You should definitely, yes.
Yeah.
I've just got it on a separate tab.
Yeah, you know there are spells that are capable of doing that.
Okay.
That's what I do as well. I was a bunch of other tabs for other things.
I'll take a quick.
Plus a bunch of documents for other
Mind
notes.
if I take a quick bio break while you guys are.
Ooh, you're not got your piss bucket. Bad form.
I got this.
Yeah. That is slightly disgusting, but we'll
I
consider.
have an empty water bottle.
This shop is more you guys' area, so I'm gonna let you all deal with it for a minute.
Fair enough.
Sure.
Simeon just
All right.
goes to sleep on the floor for a minute. Okay.
He props himself up against Finian. Okay.
Fair enough. So I assume you tell me that it is possible for spells
Did
like.
Did I detect that one had been used?
Well, I think I was just asking you about it, but with a 20, maybe you might be able to tell.
I'd say that you would safely assume that one of those spells has been used in this case with a 20.
Yes, sir. It does appear that a silencing spell was used on this.
So we're
I'm
dealing
gonna have
with.
to do something about that. I might have to get an additional rune for some kind of secondary alarm in that case.
You would explain how they managed to get the merchandise undetected. I actually turned to Officer Williams and just said, "Have you received any reports? You seem to have an idea when on the way here of who these people might be. Does this sound at all familiar to you?"
Yes. It sounds similar to some people that came here recently. It's a little trio of halflings. They're brothers. They're a bit well known to be, let's just say, they find laws optional. They're quite well-known thieves, but there are meant to be people keeping tabs on them, so this didn't happen specifically.
Troublesome.
I'd assume this means that they must have managed to get away from whoever was keeping the eye on them.
I check Williams' reaction on that. He says that.
He seems to be meaning what he says. As far as he was aware that people were keeping eyes on that particular group when they came into town.
Doom, is there anything back here, like another back entrance we could look at?
Yeah, you can see a room. Do you go back there?
Well, obviously I asked the shopkeep first whether I can go that way and just explain that I'm looking for a point of entry that the thieves might have gone in from.
Yeah, sure. Just go ahead.
Okay.
So you walk into the back room. It's quite a small living area, but quite neat. There are crates, which are all sealed.
So the crates are sealed. Okay.
Yes. There is a back door as well. I can put that in there.
Before I actually interact with the back door, I will actually ask: is this back door fitted with a similar rune? Incidentally.
No, I don't actually have a door alarm. They're a lot more tricky because doors keep opening and shutting. He wouldn't actually tell me if he could manage to fix one. That would only go off when triggered, if you know what I mean.
Understood. I just go outside here.
Okie dokie.
I'll probably just do the same as before because I think we're looking at a similar MO, but Nagrax, being Nagrax, just wants to make the same check, so he'll do another survival checks up for tracks just to see whether they are the same as before.
Go ahead.
Because I mean, I assume I'll be able to see tracks on the grass here.
Answer as well, given what you found last time.
Yeah. Okay, I shall. So I've got to go to a different tab here. Survival again, yeah?
Yep. First one's an 11.
First one?
As I do with advantage, given what you've seen in the other one.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear
you. Know what you need trying to look for.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, so I'm going to say with an 11, you can see one or two different sets of footprints. Some of them seem to be the size of the shopkeep, but there are a couple that seem smaller.
Okay. So I suppose with that, Nagrax is kind of assuming at this point that it's the same people. He's just kind of making sure that these are connected crimes rather than, or he's kind of entertained possibly they could be separate, but I think he's kind of leaning towards them being things. So he's just going to go to. Do I see anything to the left and right?
It's just an open alley, bits of wood, a couple of barrels. There's not really anything else. There's a couple of people that pass by occasionally.
So yeah, no, nothing else here then.
No.
Okay, are these just generally open crates here?
Yes, they're just empty crates.
Okay, so nothing of interest. Okay, I'll come back inside. Again, I will just report to Officer Williams, just say, We seem to have found similar tracks outside, so I would assume, especially given what you've told us, that the culprits are the same.
Oh, was you saying that to Williams then? Sorry.
I was saying that to Williams, yeah.
The same tracks again. God damn it. Okay, then. We'll hit up the last place, make sure there's no variables, and I'll see if we can pinpoint exactly where they'll be if it's going to be the same people I think it is. Thank you for your time, Shopkeep. And with that, he makes his way out.
Farewell, friend, I say in Dwarvish and give him a little salute.
He nods and smiles at you.
Out of
And I left
character, what did we learn?
Book.
What was that, sorry?
And
So,
I'll let you two catch him up.
Out of character, what did we learn?
So basically, we investigated the runes. We saw that one of them was triggered. However, the culprit seemed to cast a silencing spell on it. Zach managed to roll quite high on his Arcana check or intelligence check, and he revealed that it's very likely that one was used. I went out the back just to see whether the tracks were the same as the previous, and even though I rolled a bit lower, Doom said there was some for the Shopkeeper, but some that looked very similar to the Halfling, so I was just reporting it back to Williams.
Gotcha.
So that's all you've missed.
Gotcha.
Oh, crap. I just realised I got 7-Up Cherry. There's 7-Up. Fuck.
No!
Oh, well.
First one,
Oh
fucking-
no!
Not Colin.
Cherry is a far superior flavour, though. Come on, man.
I've not.
Anyway.
I didn't know we did 7-Up cherry.
Neither did I.
Doesn't
know
surprise
now.
me. There's a bunch of cherry stuff.
I wouldn't mind trying that. Anyway, back to the other shop.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you guys make your way to the last little shop. It's a very small place in comparison to the others. And all of you can barely fit into it.
Cramped in here.
Oh god, that is crap.
And there is a little halfling right there. Oh, yes, hello. He kind of walks up towards the desk and climbs on top of a stool. How can I help you?
Nargrax is nearest to him, so he'll just say, good afternoon. We're here with Officer Williams here, investigating a theft that took place here recently.
Oh, yes, the theft. Tricky business, that. Oh, well, come on back here. I mean, you might not have fist, but come on back here.
Nargrax just kind of like pushes past Officer Williams and just follows him into the back.
Okay. And there is the back.
Okay.
He points over to the crates that are over here, in particular. As you can see here, yes, there's a bit of a mess. There are various different pouches thrown around all over the place. There are different types of dust that have just been thrown on the floor. Some of my things were taken. I kind of left it for a few days. I thought maybe you might.
Can you
I
recall?
want to see the sign as it was.
Can you recall what was taken exactly?
Quite a few different things, but mostly it was he just kind of puts his thumb to his finger for a second, thinking. It was an enchanting dust, something that's meant to embowel magical properties based on spells that are cast onto items. It's quite a good seller. It was quite a shame it was gone.
Did you notice anything strange before the theft?
I don't live here, so when I'm not here, I don't really know what happens here. Strange before it. I had a few people coming, wouldn't buy anything, and they inquired about my stock and then left. They seemed quite pushy about it.
Could you describe them for us? Or for me, sorry.
Oh, they were halflings like me. There was two of them, but there was a third one when they both left. Yeah.
Can you remember what they were wearing by chance?
They all had stripy logos on the shoulder. One was wearing a big coat. Another was just kind of wearing a top, and another one was bare-chested. He's also bald.
Okay. So Nagrex then asks, so you said you left it for a few days. Roughly how long ago did you notice the theft?
I'm gonna say about 3, maybe 4 days ago.
Okay, and the last thing he asks is do you have a back entrance?
Yes, it's just over here.
Would you mind if I have a quick look at the back, please?
Okay, he turns around.
Of the shop? Nagrex kind of gang dartly, so he kind of just moves past him gingerly and just looks outside. Is this just soil out here, Doom?
Yeah, it's just the same back alley as what you've seen in other places.
Right, so I won't.
The door leads immediately into the back alley, so there's no garden this time.
Right, so no tracks. I just look around the area to see if anything jumps out as being odd.
Roll investigation.
Okay, just give us a second, Si. There you go.
Okay, 14. The only thing that you really notice is there are some scratch marks where the lock is on the door.
Okay.
On the outside of it specifically.
So I will take note of the scratch marks, the time of theft, and the physical description that the shopkeeper gave me. Once again, I will move back to Officer Williams and I will relay this information to him and the party.
Okie dokie then.
So, yeah, it does seem very likely that these thefts were all perpetrated by the same party, especially given the shopkeeper's description. I do also mention the scratch marks on the lock as well. I don't remember if I said that.
Okie dokie. Williams looks down and goes, okay, it's definitely going to be them, based on what we know so far. Okay. I'll go and get in touch with the people who are probably meant to be looking after these people and see if we can figure out where they've actually gone to. Bear with me. He leaves the store at that point.
Just before he goes, I'll just ask, would you like one of us to accompany you?
Yeah, sure. He waves over to Finian, and Finian just follows.
Okay. Nagrex will trust Finian. That could be a mistake. But I think he's trying to show confidence after giving him scolding earlier.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, you guys going to do anything?
Can I have a look out back to see if just poke my head around the alleyways to possibly see if these shops connect around the back? If there's easy access to all three.
They are all part of the same row, you notice, as you explore about. So you can quite easily go through the alleyway to get to all three.
Oh, okay.
I just kind of had to fit them where I could fit them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of if all the components that were stolen could be used to make something.
I'm going to say roll Arcana. $13. Okay, and roll intelligence as well.
Well.
Oof. All right. It seemed like they could be made for... Well, they could probably work together somehow. You was a smirch.
Sometimes.
I think these items that we're storing could be used to make a powerful weapon, but I'm not quite sure how.
It would be worth reporting your findings to Officer Williams once he returns.
Indeed.
The halfling is still just here. He's generally quite nervous. He looks up at Simeon outside the door and kind of looks. Hi. Hi.
We're here to help, little one. Do not worry.
You're awful big.
Nothing to be afraid of here. Unless it turns out you're a villain. In which case, I will strike you down.
How comfortable does he actually look here, Doom?
He looks very uncomfy.
Like, just throughout the entire encounter, or more so when, like, Simeon approached him just now?
He looks very uncomfy throughout the entire encounter, but you could say that he looks even more uncomfy with how Simeon just acted.
Nigrex would just like to see if he can kind of... I don't really know if there's any role I can do to see if there's anything innately suspicious about him. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine so, really.
Perception?
No, it's not really concealing information, though. I mean, thinking, don't even know if investigation would cut it.
I'm going to say roll perception.
Perception, yeah, is probably about the most...
There's no insight skill, is there?
There is insight.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're the same bonus, so which do you want me to roll, Doom?
Yeah, insight. No, that was a better roll. That was more suited. Okay.
So, yeah.
You know there is clearly something wrong with him. He's not just nervous from the break-in.
Okay, so Nigrex kind of just like generally seeing that he's being a bit awkward throughout the encounter and his reaction to Simeon just now. He kind of just approaches the desk slightly and just go, I can't help but notice that you've been rather nervous with our presence throughout the encounter. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us? Any information at all would be helpful. I mean, you want to recover your property, do you not?
I don't have anything else.
At this point, because Nigrex rolled quite high, would I assume that it's like he's keeping information from us, Doom?
Yes.
Right, okay, so he'll sort of say, listen, I understand that there might be something more here. You need to tell us precisely what's happening. If you can't, we may not be able to help you. So I would strongly suggest that you actually tell us everything that you know. So
I have told you everything. I came back to my shop after I went to sleep, and the mess was in the back. I got to the town guard. I reported it to them.
Can I tell if he's telling the truth?
I'll say, given your previous insights, you know that's...
It's a little bit flimsy.
Happened.
Or...
You know that what he just said did happen.
Okay, so in that case, now I go say, but given what you've said, there isn't really much to be nervous about. I can't help but wonder if there was something more that you've not mentioned. Is somebody threatening you, or have you lost something that you would have preferred to have kept? That if you lost it, someone might be angry.
I'm not sure I want to answer more questions.
Come now, little one. We're here to help. We're the heroes. But
His back straightens a bit more as you speak behind him.
Sometimes the heroes need your help. Do you not want to be a hero?
He just looks back over his shoulder. I don't like you standing behind me.
Maybe a little gold would help loosen your tongue.
I'll move.
Where do you move to?
I'll just come around the front.
Okie dokie. His eyes dart to the side briefly, then back. He starts to run.
He starts to run.
Oh,
Um,
can I catch
Which
him?
direction?
I'm going to say, given you're still right next to him, make an athletics. Athletics, acrobatics, actually. I can't remember which one's which.
I mean, acrobatics, I would imagine if he's jumping over stuff. I mean, if it's even ground, I would imagine athletics would probably be applicable here.
Yeah, I'd say athletics.
So who's doing this? Is this me or is this
Simeon.
What did he do? I didn't.
Oh, you got that one.
I have a +5 in athletics.
Well, I mean, if I'm stood right in front of him, I suppose Nargrax would try to make a beeline for him too.
Yeah, but given Simeon was directly beside him, he made the first move. He utterly failed. I'd say that you grabbed his arm and he immediately pulled out and began running for the door.
Right. Okay.
Can I block his path with a bonfire?
Well, Nargrax will try to.
As he gets to the door, you can cast if you want.
I want to try and block his path with a bonfire.
Okay, then I'm going to roll a d20. If he gets above a 10, he will manage to see it and jump over it.
What I will do is, as I see Flynn doing that, I go out the front and I'm going to loop around the back. So if because he's probably going to stagger for a moment, so I'm going to just start walking to intercept him, or running to intercept.
I got an 18, so he made it over. He jumps over the bonfire. Oh, God, I went on the wrong thing again. He jumps over the bonfire and he lands there.
Do I not get to roll for my bonfire?
Given you just create the bonfire in place, I'm going to say no. He just outright created it in his way. So we had to roll to actually make sure he didn't trip over it.
Right, okay, so as I say, Nargrax kind of went out the front. He's going to sort of be running up the alley. I don't know if you want
I'll say he ran that way first and he saw you. Also make an athletics check to see if you can grab him. I'll say go no further than oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll say you managed to catch up to him and grab him by the arm, and you have hold of him.
Right. Okay. So with that, I will just
extinguish the bonfire.
I will call. I'll call for Simeon before I do anything else, just to get up and just to block the way in case I lose my grip of him for any reason. It's sort of.
Flint as well, or does he stay still?
Oh, I mean, I'll just call out. So if.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Flint stood quite near to Simeon, so I assume he would have heard me as well. Okay, so with that, I'll say to him, "This isn't looking very good for you. We've been asking you questions about the theft. Why would you have any incentive to run? You must understand at this point that we will need to report this back to Officer Williams, and this, frankly, looks very suspicious. I'm under the personal belief that you may be a co-conspirator. I would really recommend that you convince me otherwise. I am trying to intimidate him at this point."
Roll intimidation.
Yeah, I kind of like. He needs lessons.
Well, you don't intimidate him.
I mean, basically, go if you wouldn't mind at the end. I guess.
All right. So you've got a hold of him. He's kind of wriggling a little bit. Please get off me, but please.
I'm still keeping a tight grip of him because
I walk up and draw my sword and sort of point it at him and go, "Remember what I said earlier? If you were a villain."
He stops stone still. Roll intimidation, Simeon.
That is
okay. Fuck. Okay.
I've been all over the map on these rolls.
Basically, good. We're doing good cop, bad cop. Basically.
Yeah, it seems that way. Okay. With that, he immediately buckles and he starts to cry. I'm sorry. They said that. They said the guard would refund. If I reported it, they said the guard would refund me. He starts to cry.
Okay, I think considering that Nargrax didn't really intimidate him, he'll talk first because he'll try to be good cop now. Listen, we don't want anything bad to happen to you or for you to lose anything that is rightfully yours. But you have to understand our position. You ran from us. Please, take a moment to collect yourself and tell us what you know.
He looks utterly defeated. He just kind of goes down to his knees and sits on the floor while she's got hold of his arm.
I mean, I'm not loosening my grip, even if he's kind of going limp in my arms. Yeah, I'm not allowing myself to make mistakes if I can help it.
Phrasing.
Did I say again?
Sorry, phrasing.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Behave.
Too much time with that breathless, I mean.
Okay.
It's his first time.
Did I mention the name of the brothers for the halflings?
I don't know if you've mentioned him by name. I might.
I wasn't here if you did.
I don't recall.
Okay then. Good. He looks up to Nagrax.
I didn't even know they were brothers, to be fair. So,
Well, fair enough. The Barney brothers, they said that if I reported this as a theft, the town guard would refund me for the money to my stolen property, and they wouldn't burn down my shop.
So what actually happened? I assume that they made these threats and you handed over the stock of your own volition.
Bug, do you have quotes enabled in your chat?
I probably do. Yeah. Give me a moment to just make sure that it. I don't exactly know what I said, but yeah, go ahead. If you want to quote something ridiculous, I said you go ahead, Zach.
I'm not loosening my grip, even though he's going limp in my hands.
Oh God, that's what I said. I didn't think about this, and I don't want to make any mistakes. No. Oh God, there's no context that makes it okay.
Yep.
And that'll be my first quote.
Yep. It's great, isn't it?
Oh boy. Well, you know what? Mistakes were made. Let's just carry on.
Please add it.
Please do.
I mean, one of you should be able to add it, anyone if you can.
Zach, you have the honors.
Yeah, you go ahead, Zach. Complete my humiliation.
That just sounds even worse.
Oh God! Why do I do this in your company? Always do.
I don't know how you do it.
What you and Doom get up to?
No? Okay. How do you do it? I don't know what you're using to.
You need to put the actual quote in quotation marks.
Ah.
Anyway, I've kind of lost the tangent now. I mean, maybe this was actually happening in character, that Nargrax. But the difference is Nargrax is just staring blankly. He just doesn't understand. He's more innocent than me. Huh.
All right, so
I'll add it myself later, I guess. Yeah, we'll sort that out later. Go on.
because of that, I've forgotten the bloody name of the brothers I just said.
Barcona.
Whoops.
Hold on, I think you said Baroni Brothers or something along those lines.
Yeah, something like
It's the
that.
Barney brothers.
So basically, I was just asking him what actually happened, because he's sort of saying, if I reported it as a robbery, they wouldn't burn down my shop. So Nargrax just said, did you give them the goods of your own volition after they made the threat? That's basically the gist of it.
Yes. I set it up to look like a broken in as well.
Do you know if these brothers have made threats of any other shopkeepers in the area? Or if they've done this before?
I don't know them. I don't know what they do. I it's hard running a business. I can't have them burning down my shop.
So I'm actually going to say at this point, Flint, it seems that these brothers are more dangerous than we first anticipated. Did Officer Williams actually say where he was going, or did he just say, I'm going to see a contact?
Just he's going to see someone.
He's just going to see. Okay, so in that case, I will just say, Flint, it might not be a bad idea for you to keep a lookout out front just to see whether when Officer Williams and Finian come back. It's quite possible if they don't return after some time, we might have to see if anybody's seen them. These brothers could be more dangerous than we anticipated.
Definitely.
Okay. So I'll say that a bit of time passes. Are you going to be staying in the alley with him?
I sheath my sword and I offer my hand to him to help him up.
He gingerly takes it and lets you help him up.
Yeah, as Simeon does that, I loosen my grip on him.
Do not worry, my friend. We will catch these villains. Do not feel bad. You are not the first person to cower at the sight of my blade.
Yeah, okay. So a bit of time passes and Williams comes back with Finian. He notices that you guys are outside. I'm just going to... There he is. Okay. What seems to have gone on here?
This poor man was shanghaied into cooperating with this gang of villains. What do you know of them?
He puts his hand on his hips and looks at the halfling, who looks a bit disheveled.
So,
yeah.
I will further explain. We noticed that this gentleman was looking quite nervous, probably more so than you would expect of somebody in his situation. We questioned him on his disposition and he made a run out of the exit. We grabbed him and he's revealed that was it the Barney brothers, Doom?
The Barney brothers.
The Barney brothers had threatened to burn this man's shop down if he didn't report it as a robbery.
Right, well then we definitely got the right guys.
It seems as if they're a little bit more dangerous than regular petty thieves.
That's why I put the quest in for some muscle. Right. They're currently, known to be inside a bar on the west side called the Ogre's Fist. I think it's probably best we go over there now and we confront them.
Okay. So, with that, Nagrax will turn to the shopkeeper and he'll say, I'm very sorry for my treatment of you. I just wanted to get the truth just so that these individuals can be brought to justice.
He looks quite ashamed at the moment. Yes.
Nagrax sort of like bends down to his sort of height and he gives him 2 silver. And he just says...
He pushes it back towards you.
I understand. I'm sorry, please, just take care of yourself.
The officer looks over at him. You, I will be having words with later. The halfling nods.
I'll go easy on him. Not all of us can have the courage to face the evils of the world.
A crime is still a crime. With that, William starts to walk off. Do you guys follow?
Yep.
Yep.
Okie dokie.